This is the debrief from Migration to Cloud session with David Prince.
Great, thank you. We just had a great 2-hour session on talking about how to migrate to the cloud securely. The conversation spans a number of areas across kind of non-technical challenges and technical challenges, where individuals kind of shared the things that have been on their mind in terms of how they migrate and operate in the cloud, and some of the key constraints that they're facing. In terms of, I guess, specifically areas of interest were around how to ensure that you're thinking about the right risks and you're designing the right controls and embedding them properly within cloud and multi-cloud, and how you really, I guess, engage internally with your stakeholders to really understand the nature of the risk that, I guess, is associated with the journey to cloud, and ensuring that everyone is kind of clear on what priorities exist. So we covered some really interesting points around risk appetite and governance, some constraints, including, how to cut down on repetitive analysis of cloud providers when you've already done it once, and how to find the right balance between understanding and accepting risk, and the right balance of conducting due diligence. And so we had a good conversation around what that means in terms of defining a risk appetite, and then what that means in terms of gaining assurance that your cloud migration is operating securely, but you're also then operating in cloud securely as well. So that was particularly interesting for me, and I think a lot of the individuals who were listening. We then took more of a detailed and technical focus on how you define the controls and embed them within your business so that they're implemented within cloud. And one of the participants, Lewis, shared with us some of the things that he's been doing in terms of mapping the threats and vulnerabilities associated with cloud providers, in this case, and then the corresponding controls that need to be implemented and put in place, both kind of process driven and technology driven. And he was exploring with us his journey using the ASVS and various cloud security frameworks, including the ENISA threat report as well, how he's using these resources and embedding that within his business to identify key kind of countermeasures and controls, and how that he's kind of corresponding those countermeasures to the key vulnerabilities that they're looking to mitigate. So he shared with us the process and the artifacts that he's been stepping through, and how he's been working with his team within his business globally to collaboratively build these processes and ways of working. So that was particularly interesting. I think in summary, the conversation has been very kind of risk and control driven. And there was some interesting conversation about at what point you perhaps need to focus more on quantitative analysis to really understand and articulate risk versus when you perhaps don't need to do that. So I think for anyone who is planning on embarking, currently going through or operating in the cloud, this would be a fairly useful talk to listen to, because I think there's some really useful insights and experiences shared by the group. So do take some time to listen if you can.
And what will be next steps after this session? How can we progress this discussion further?
Yeah, really good question. So there are some key kind of initiatives that are ongoing by participants in the group, and I think really the next step is sharing that so people consume it within industry. So I know Lewis was talking about sharing some of the content that he's used, so others can use it and take the benefit of all of his hard work. And we also talked about sharing some other useful artifacts, I think particularly in how you can approach risk when embarking on cloud. We had some interesting discussions around how you can bring your kind of risk matrix, your 5x5 to life through some risk appetite statements, opportunity statements. And there are lots of kind of templates that can be helped. So I think they're going to be shared as well, so that people can, I guess, use these and tailor them so that they can get a bit of a head start.